Today is December 24th, so welcome everyone to the last tip of the special Christmas edition of Tips and Tricks in Target. Today it's going to be a little bit extensive tip. We're going to look at how you can create archive access right inside Target. So let's go have a look at it. So we're looking at a certain folder inside the Target client, and since the 2022 version of Target, we've supported that you can actually work with different file types inside the Target client. So that requires that you've ticked this other button in the filters. So if I untick it, these will become invisible. But what you can see here is that you're able to see those files, PDF files, CSV files, pictures, Excel files, all the formats that you're able to schedule from Target. And the other part of this new feature is that now you're able to actually schedule, which is the other part where you can say if you add a scheduled job, now you can go to the delivery tab. You can set it to be a folder delivery. And if you click this export button, it'll take you one step back. And then you can actually navigate to a shared folder, and maybe actually the folder I was showing you before, the one called Materials. And here you can see what's already there. So now you can schedule that a report should end up here, an Excel export, a CSV export, maybe a snapshot should end up in this folder. And as you probably know, you can, inside the Target scheduler, use dynamic naming. So that allows you to actually build an archive right inside a Target folder. So that's a very nice thing. Now you can have this stuff inside a folder, and you can see it inside the Target client. But what about the end users? Well, I can think of a couple of ways. Either you could go and build a lot of triggers, because if we quickly add a text box to this blank canvas here and look at a trigger, we have a type of trigger that's called open pre-rendered export. So we could actually make a trigger specifically for this report, another trigger specifically for this report, but that would be kind of cumbersome, because I would suspect that this archive is growing, and then I would have to build a trigger for each and every one of these reports. So why not give the users access just to the folder? And you can actually do that by adding a URL trigger. But I've thought of another way, which I think is more clever. So looking on the right-hand side of this analysis, what I have here is a text box. And let's just move it a little bit down and look at it. No, sorry, not a text box, actually a web box. If you look at properties of this web box, there is a URL here. And that URL points to the folder called Materials. So the URL ends with the material folder name. There's no specific analysis here. It ends with the name of the folder. So this is a Target folder, and this is my demo portal, the solutionstarget.com. That would of course be replaced by the name of your Anywhere server, but the system is the same. So what I have here is actually Target inside Target. So inside Target, I have a web box that is showing a folder inside Target. And you can access this with the Windows client, and of course you can also with the web client. Now, I built my Target portal on a principle saying they're not supposed to go through these folders. So I'm going to use a trick here. I'm just going to move it as it was when we saw it first up here. That means that when the end users see it, they won't be able to access any folders. They'll just be able to access the content of this particular folder. So let's look at it from the end user perspective. So here's my web box. When I've opened up this analysis, and of course there should be a lot of graphs here, you just have to imagine that. But on the right-hand side here is my web box. And this is what the end users can access. And they can click these things that are in the archive, and they will immediately download. So they can access the archive from within Target, which I think is a really nice feature here. So they're able to click those different reports and actually download them right there. So that concludes the 24th of December tips and trick, showing you how to build an archive with dynamic content right inside Target and give your users access to this archive without jeopardizing your principle of not allowing them access to folders. So with that, a Merry Christmas from us here in Target.